What is up, YouTube? TradeModeJames here. We're going to talk about mvis real quick, do the weekly recap thing, yada, yada, yada. You know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live or drop a video. Let's jump right into it, guys. All right, we've been on a downtrend since... let's see here. What was this? About June 10th. All right, we've been on a downtrend since June 10th. We have a big descending wedge here forming. We've talked about this before. This yellow line is going to be our 975. That's going to be a nice confirmation for us if we ever get above that to know that the reversal could be in play. All right, so what happened yesterday was we kind of had a gap here after hours. We dropped out of this wedge, which isn't good for the bulls. That's good for the bears, but we did come down here to my zone. This is the original zone that we jumped out of, and I talked about this on the live earlier too. But this is the zone we jumped out of this the first time to make this $24 high. We jumped out of this zone, this demand zone right over here to the left. That's going to be where we jumped out of to make that first original push to the top side. All right, so I did expect some movement here when we came down here, and we did get that. You see I had this zone marked in before price came down here, and you do see a nice reversal right out of this zone. All right, this is called supply and demand. This is a demand zone, 100% guaranteed, undisputable. This is demand zone. All right, we did jump out of there, and we got a nice little movement out here actually. Now I don't know if we're going to get back up in this wedge today, obviously, but we likely will not. But next week, I do think we are going to get back in the wedge. I do. I think this is a little bit over exaggerating, and I think price wants to be in the wedge. And I think, I personally think this week it's going to happen. We're going to get back in that wedge and hopefully break out to the top side and get above that 975. Those are the two things we need to have happen to get that reversal confirmation out of the zone. We need to get back in the wedge, number one. Number two, breakout. And number three, I guess, is get above that 975 and close really above this 1026 right here where this double top kind of thing is right here. So 975 close would be great confirmation for us. A close above 975, I'm sorry. And that's going to be, like I said, that's going to be a nice confirmation. It did happen here, but we were still in the wedge, okay? So we're going to have to break out of the wedge to get above 975 now. So that's going to be great for us. RSI on the daily time frame is relatively low. It's not technically oversold, but it's pretty close. All right, 30 on the RSI. Anything under 30 is considered oversold. Anything over 70 is considered overbought. And right now we're pretty low on the RSI, so that gives us room to go up. And I think that, like I said, the EC was what it was. A lot of people took it negatively. I did not. I think Sumit Sharma talked a lot about the technology. He kind of mocked the competitors a little bit in his own passive-aggressive way, which I kind of liked. And, and I think for me personally, I liked what he said. I like the fact that he's kind of not focused on getting spot sales, not focused on getting short-term profits. He wants that OEM partnership. It's going to land us, hundreds of millions a year. I don't know how much he can make, but, he wants that the bigger picture to be in play, not the smaller picture, right? So we got to think implied value with Microvision, because that's the only thing that is valuable about this is the implied value of the stock. They're not making any money yet. They're going to be making money in the future. That's called implied value. All right, so but back to the price action, guys. The daily time frame, we are on a downtrend, all right? So it's not the end of the world, right? We're pretty low, 769 on the close today is what I'm showing here on TradingView. Now, I know a lot of you in the red, but if you had conviction to be in this stock to begin with, then this dip shouldn't really be that big of a deal to you, right? Because if you had conviction to put a lot of money in this stock to begin with, then you should be looking back at that right now for your confirmation bias. You should be looking at that to make yourself feel better about this dip. Now, like I said, this is a zone where we jumped out of in the past, so I'm not too worried about price, to be honest with you. If we do fall below this zone, we have a couple more demand zones here. I could draw in for you. We got one right here. We got one right here, and we got one right here. I'm just putting this one because this is kind of the last one on this move right here if we look to the left. And if you're not looking left, you're not looking right. Always look to the left if you want to see what price is going to do potentially in the future, okay? So we do have some things saving us. I don't think we're coming down to $5. I just don't. But I didn't think we were coming down here either. So, the market makers do what they want, I guess. So we're really at their mercy, but I don't think that it's going to go down much further simply due to supply and demand, all right? At these levels, this whole entire area right here is basically a gigantic a demand zone, all right? So people are really going to be buying at this price. I mean, they know what this price was. They know what the stock was doing months ago, and not even that long ago, really. We were up pretty high, so there's a large potential for this stock to bounce here. And, I think, with the way that the stock is going, the way that Microvision is expanding. Their books look good. The technology's there. It's really up to the OEMs when the big catalyst happens. But until then, we could still see price go back up to $15, $20. That really can happen, and especially if we get back above that 975, that's a key level in this stock. I mean, it's super key level. Up here, this 1932, that's another key level. So we're kind of just being in between 1932 and 975 is a good thing, all right? So that's the first thing we need to do. We need to get back above 975 and really get our momentum back towards the upside, okay? We've been downtrending for a while now, since June 10th. So we can't go down forever, and if I do think next week we end up back in this wedge, and from there, all we need to do is break out to the top top side and, you know, get above that 975 that I've been talking about since the beginning of this video. So 975 close, that's what I want to see. That's my big confirmation that a reversal is in play. Simply due because in order for us to get above that 975, we got to break out of the wedge. This is a bullish setup, guys. This wedge is a bullish setup, and I think that if it weren't for that EC and people taking this negatively, we would still be in the wedge. We might be downtrending, but we'd still be in the wedge. So I think next week we get back in the wedge, and I think we break out at some point in the next couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a little less. I don't know. We might just consolidate. We might break out of the wedge and consolidate a little bit before going. But I think that at some point we're going to get back above 975. That's going to be a big confirmation for me that price is moving in the direction we want it to. And I'm just, you know, I'm still happy about this. Like I said, guys, if you're using risk management, if you're not risking more than you're not willing to lose, then, you know, you're doing all right. You should not be that worried about this dip. If you didn't sell at $28, why would you even be worried at $7.69? You know what I mean? If you had conviction enough to not sell up here, then you shouldn't have really too many worries down here, right? Like, it is what it is. We're downtrending. You know, it's been a while. They haven't produced any revenue, so people always look at that when it comes to this stock. They always talk about revenue, revenue, revenue. Well, they're not making any revenue. We know that. We know that the entire value around this stock is based off implied value. LiDAR is not relevant yet. It will be, and I think it will be standardized in vehicles, just like airbags. And I think that that's going to happen in the near future. So I'm excited for that. But as far as price action goes, guys, this week has been, obviously we've been downtrending. But, you know, I think we bounce here. We did bounce out of my zone. All right. So this was a nice zone. You could have made some scalp money here, some, you know, day trade money on this. But we're not doing that on my end. I'm just holding long. If we do come down to this zone, I'll be adding on more. If not, I'm just going to hold what I have. But I expect us to break back into this wedge next week and, you know, go from there. I can't really predict the future, but I can try with the price action. And it looks like we do have a bounce happening here. We had, you know, a decent close for what's going on. Considering what's happening, we had a good close today, all right? And really, that's all there is to talk about right now. We got to get back in that wedge and get above that 975. Those are the two key things we need to have happen here, basically. So there's a few other things we can talk about. You know, let me pull up our MACD real quick. MACD showing really low on the MACD. We have a cross happening here, looking like it's kind of consolidating here on the MACD. The histogram's kind of turning green over here, so that kind of tells me that we're kind of looking maybe to reverse to the upside a little bit here. I don't really know how far we're going to go, but it looks like MACD is ready to cross and give us some green on the histogram. That is good news as well. So RSI super low. The histogram's turning green. We're bouncing out of a demand zone. We're going to gap up back into this descending wedge, I think, and re-enter that bullish setup. And I think from there, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But I think, guys, honestly, in the next couple months, maybe early Q1, we're gonna see some real movement with this stock because like I said, he projects sales in Q4 of this year. He said that. And he gave a 16-month timeline, and he also gave an 8-month timeline sometime in June. I have to go back on the transcript and read what he said, but you know, 16 months is not that long considering what this entire sector can do. I mean, this is a new technology that's just becoming relevant, so we got to give it time. These things take time, guys. All right, they're expanding into Germany. Steve Holt was talking about expanding even more, so in Q1. So I think they're doing the right stuff, guys. Their books look good. Everything looks good on this stock. The short-term price action should not be affecting you that much if you have conviction in this stock. You know what I mean? And that's kind of just where I stand with it. So we're gonna have to wait and see how long it takes us to get back in that wedge. But I seriously think that early next week, we're gonna be back inside this wedge, maybe Monday or Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. And then from there, we're gonna be looking to break out to the top side here and get above that 975 and finally close above that 975. That's what we're looking to do. That's all we can hope for right now. Those three things: back in the wedge, break out of the top side of the wedge, and get a close above 975 on the daily time frame. All right, that's all I have for you today, guys. I want to do this real quick video for you before I take off, but I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live. I try to do these Mavis recap videos under 5 minutes. Sometimes I fail, but really there's not much going on here. All right, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens next week. All right, and I will make another video sometime next week covering this stock. I appreciate y'all very much. If you want to get on the Discord, send me a DM on Discord. We'd love to have you on the team. Peace and love from my end. TradeModeJames signing out.